What golden nugget of information do you have to share?
Monkeys have a very distinct way of wanking off, and yes, they do wank themselves. Which, in contrast to normal human male way of forming a tube with their hands, creates a shovel with their hand and cup their genitalia from under and repeatedly rub it. I don't watch monkeys jack off, I just saw it in a documentary, edit. I really don't edit. This is like 4 days old, how are you finding this TF, and stop telling me I watch monkeys jack off, I don't have links to monkey porn.
In the center courtyard of the Pentagon, you don't have to salute superior officers. It's a recreation lunch area and you'd basically spend the whole time saluting. So it's not required there. Source: my uncle, a Navy corpsman, who currently works at the Pentagon.
Stonehenge, the world's most famous henge, isn't actually a henge. A henge is a Neolithic earthworks, oval or circular in shape, sometimes containing wooden or stone structures, and surrounded by a perimeter of a bank with internal ditch. So the famous stones of Stonehenge aren't even a necessary part of a henge, just an optional extra. But more importantly, the bank and ditch at Stonehenge are the wrong way around to make it an official henge. So Stonehenge isn't a henge, however the earliest recorded use of the word henge is in reference to Stonehenge, so non-henge, Stonehenge, despite not being a henge, is the thing all other henges are named after.
If you don't have a toilet plunger and you've clogged it up, pour in a bit of dish soap and some hot water, the hotter the better. Let stand for 15 minutes and flush. Learned this one immediately upon arriving at our hotel. My 8-year-old clogged up our toilet and I googled. Found this jam, realized I'd packed a tiny travel bottle of dish soap, warmed water up in the microwave, and lo and behold, it worked. I still use it sometimes at home when I don't want to be grossed out by plunging. Yes, my child has a tendency to clog toilets. So there you go.
X% of Y is the same as Y% of X. So if you're struggling to find 26% of 50, maybe 50% of 26, 13 is much easier to do quickly. Ctrl plus Shift plus S open straight to the task manager instead of Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete and then manually selecting task manager.
Horses have a massive blind spot on the front and back of their body. If you are ever around a tame horse, keep a hand on their body while walking around them. This lets it know where you are at all times and decreases chances of kicking out of shock or fear. This also prevents them from kicking you with as much force. You need to stay very close to them for the full benefit. This is similar with goats, as they instinctively fight things coming head-on and should be approached from the sides. Also, ears are the gateway to a horse's feelings. Pinned back ears indicates an anxious or angered horse. Pinned straight up indicates curiosity and focus. If your older grandparents are suddenly acting strange, get them checked for a UTI. In older people, UTIs can cause a psychotic or delusional episode. At the beginning of every relationship, agree to assume positive intent. Talk about it often, don't forget about it, and make it the most important rule. Fights will be less, empathy will be greater, and your relationship will be stronger.
Even though you have a VPN, it doesn't necessarily keep you hidden if skilled people wanted to find you. There are many things that can leak your IP that you have to isolate and fix, such as IPv6 leaks, DNS leaks, and webhook leaks. Also, every add-in you add to your browser, it gives you a unique fingerprint that can lead back to you. You're not as secure as you think.
If you like what you see, please comment, like and subscribe.
Artillery was responsible for over 70% of combat casualties in both world wars.
The scorpion can hold its breath for 6 days, so don't think drowning it will help you out of your scorpion problem.
A moose can run 40 miles per hour through 6-foot deep snow.
For an garment to be labeled made in USA, the process only needs to be started and finished in America. In the case of a certain ladies' underwear line, the material is cut in USA, shipped overseas for assembly, then shipped back to America where a seamstress sews a made in USA tag on the item. Source: underwear factory worker.
9 months before Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of the bus, a 15-year-old called Claudette Colvin refused to give up her seat. 2 police officers arrested her. Colvin says that civil rights leaders didn't think a teen, especially one with a very dark complexion, would be a good poster child for their movement. Source for anyone interested.
The first president of Zimbabwe was President Banana.
Iron can make your poop color turn black.
Airline ops guy here. If you check in a bag at an airport with an hour or less before departure, it has a 50/50th shot of making it on the plane. Just like that saw line, bag security can back up too. I regularly see 30-plus-minute in screening statuses on bags. Then, it may be pulled for a hand screening and search. This is random, and SA doesn't care when the flight leaves. So now we are at about 25 minutes to departure, and your bag has only just now entered the sort system. It will take another 5 to 10 minutes to sort out to the person who loads carts with bags. Here, the problem is that there may be 7 to 10 other flights coming off of the same conveyor belt. They have to see your bag's tag out of maybe 50 other bags, so let's assume another 5 minutes. Your flight's bag cart was delivered plane-sided an hour before departure. It is now 15 minutes to departure. The bag room has seen your bag and has it on the back of a tug racing to the plane. 7 minutes before departure, the baggage compartments are closed and total weights are being submitted. Your bag has missed the airplane. TL doctor, please check in more than an hour before your flight if checking a bag, or else it might not make it on the plane.
The Earth wobbles really slowly like a spinning top. It takes about 26,000 years to come full circle. In the process, the northern star changes. This is called precession.
When Elton John changed his name from Reginald White, he also gave himself a middle name. His full name is Elton Hercules John.
When looking at renting a car, hotel room, etc., type in your company's name, discount code, vendor in Google. X. Wells Fargo Hertz discount code. You can get better rates on these items usually.
I had a heart transplant 5 years ago. When your heart is replaced, the surgeon has to cut the main nerve that gets the signal from the brain to beat and/or increase the intensity of the beat. Without this vagus nerve, your new heart has no regulation and pumps blood out of habit. You no longer have a fight or flight response, and your new heart beats at 90+ beats a minute. Never miss a chance to piss. The strong sense of doom is a medically recognized and majority common precursor to having a heart attack. Armadillos give birth to 4 identical twins always.
There are 3 ways to refer to a gathering of geese. 1. If they're on the ground, it's a gaggle. 2. If they're flying but not in a V-shaped formation, it's a skein. 3. If they're flying and in a V-shaped formation, it's a wedge.
A single spaghetti noodle is called a spaghetto. Speaking of golden nuggets of information to share. Goldfish lose their color if they are kept in dim light or are placed in a body of running water, such as a stream.
The concept of 3 square meals a day is a diet designed for people working physical labor in the early 1900s. Quality of diet and sticking to daily calorie limits is the only part that really matters. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter what time you eat, although the 3 square meals model is indeed advantageous for day-long maintenance of energy levels. Basically, it's better to just eat when you're hungry than force yourself to eat when you should, so long as you're getting the proper nutrients, etc.
The Outer Bridge Crossing is a bridge that connects Staten Island, New York to Perth Amboy, New Jersey. You probably think it was named that because it's the outermost bridge in New York City. Wrong. It's named after Eugenius Harvey Outer Bridge.
Get a first aid course, it really does save lives. All colors of Fruit Loops have the same flavor.
When you move to a new place, take a 30-minute walk through the neighborhood. Even if you just stop at 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee, it will make it feel a lot more like home.
Newly registered nurse working on a hematology ward and learned that stem cells smell like sweet corn. Edit. Thank you all for the upvotes, award and heaps of useful info. Mentioned by a few in the thread, I believe it's the preservative solution that they're kept in that smells, and not the actual cells themselves. My colleague also mentioned this when I asked about the smell. But thank you all for a very interesting thread. The main reason we stop doing something we love is because we forget our love of doing it for enjoyment's sake and replace it with the desire to be good at it.
Hot and cold water have different viscosities. Not enough to feel a difference, but enough to hear one when you're pouring it. Here's a vid. Most people replace their computer or run them into the ground when they get hot and slow. When in reality, new thermal compound and a solid-state drive upgrade can fix both problems and increase its lifespan for about $35–50, and isn't incredibly hard to do in most cases.
Canadians say sorry so much that an act passed in 2009 states that an apology would not be considered admission to guilt. It's 100 times better to break up when you're in a shit relationship than trying to fix it up for the nth time.
I work front desk at a hotel. I've seen this before, so I hope it's new to someone. Don't use sites like Expedia etc. If you book directly with the hotel, you can always call to make changes. If you need to cancel, you can avoid the 24-hour window fee by changing your reservation to a few days later. Then call back the next day to cancel. Third-party booking sites are not easy to change info. We cannot change the rate if something needs to be fixed, and you are looked down upon and get whatever basic rooms are available. Not by me personally, but everyone around me.
The Grey Rock treatment is an incredibly useful method of dealing with narcissists and toxic people. If such a person is going at you verbally or behaviorally, screaming or posturing or trying to fight, become like a grey rock in a river. No reaction, don't answer, no movement, just sit calmly and let the stream of crazy flow past you. Bonus points if you can stare blankly. When people thrive on causing a reaction, they absolutely cannot compute when they get no reaction. If you're in physical danger, obviously react to keep yourself safe, but don't argue, explain or defend verbally. You'll never change a narcissist's mind, it's just walking on a treadmill. Obviously not foolproof, keep yourself safe first and foremost. Edit. OMG. Thanks for the awards, I'm very humbled. Edit number 2. So many people have correctly pointed out that with people prone to physical violence, grey rocking can make them angry enough to escalate. Please evaluate your situation and the abusive party and use whatever tools are necessary to protect yourself.
If you ever have a baseball bat and need to use it as a weapon, put a sock over it so if someone tries to disarm you, they just slide off the sock.
If you carry a baseball bat in your vehicle for self-defense, also carry a baseball glove, even if you don't play baseball. Your lawyer will appreciate it.
People often underestimate how big a billion actually is. An easy way to conceptualize it is to think of it in terms of seconds. 1 million seconds ago was 12 days ago. 1 billion seconds ago was 1987.
Each one of the Yamato-class battleship's main gun turrets weighed over 3,000 tons, heavier than the average US destroyer. If you were on a destroyer in the US Navy during World War II, you ran the risk of having to fight a ship whose primary weapons alone displaced more weight than your entire vessel.
Removed.
There are about 60,000 characters in the Mandarin language. A very literate person will know 20,000. The average person from 5,000 to 10,000. If uneducated, around 3,000.
Heat the back of a spoon gently and press it on a mosquito bite for a few seconds to greatly reduce itching. The heat breaks up the protein in the venom. Edit. As this got traction, you only need to warm it up under warm water. Whilst a third-degree burn with a red-hot spoon does, technically, work, I wouldn't advise it.
Even if wipes say they're flushable, they're not fucking flushable.
A 30-min walk every day decreases the percent of you getting dementia.
The distinctive smell, petrichor, of summer rain is caused by the molecule geosmin, a byproduct of Streptomyces bacteria.
Peanuts are not nuts, they're legumes and they grow out of the ground like potatoes. Nuts and drupes typically grow on trees and/or are the seeds of fruits. You can be allergic to tree nuts and not be to peanuts, and vice versa.
Seasonal allergies are almost entirely man-made ailments. When planting landscaping trees and bushes in the 50s and 60s, people didn't want to use female trees, as they didn't want fruit to fall on streets and on people's cars, so they opted for almost entirely male trees, thus drastically increasing the pollen output.
Arguing with a genius and winning is possible but very hard. Arguing with an idiot and winning is impossible.
Jimmy Carter has been alive for so long that his lifespan overlaps with the lifespan of someone who was alive at the same time as Thomas Jefferson.
Caterpillars are physically unable to burp.
When choking on food and can't get help, you can get into a push-up position and then just drop down. The ground hitting your stomach and chest will cause what you're choking on to dislodge. Edit. Someone has commented to explain that this was created by a fireman, not something that firemen necessarily do. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Edit. You can also dislodge by jabbing the back end of a chair into your stomach. Please look in the comments for more info. Don't believe everything you think. Stop and question yourself every once in a while.
I worked at Domino's Pizza for a while. You should never order their specialty pizzas, just order their mix and match deal, which is 2 medium pizzas with 2 toppings. You can put all 4 toppings on one pizza, which is about what you get on a specialty, and you essentially get a free cheese pizza.
Even if you aren't willing to give mouth-to-mouth on an unconscious person, chest compressions alone greatly increase their odds of survival.
Admit when you're wrong. Say it out loud to the person you are incorrect to, and don't let your pride stop you. The amount of respect you instantly gain is shocking, no matter how much you like the person.
Smells or particulate. Domestic cats don't meow to communicate with other cats. They use meows almost exclusively to communicate with humans. Edit. I should have specified that this applies to adult cats and not kittens. And I'm sure there are exceptions. Here's some information about it though.
Astrophysicists think there might have been once stars so big they would have had a black hole in their center. They are called quasi-stars.
On the timeline of human history, the ancient Egyptians lived as close to the ancient Romans as the ancient Romans live to us today.
Semen washes off best with cool water. Using hot water can cause the proteins to denature and makes it stickier.
The tensing of leg muscles will deflate in unwanted erection. Don't buy French bulldogs. They're a fad breed that was sick to begin with, and so many people are being scammed by backyard breeders and puppy farms, they're depressingly broken. If you do buy one, even from an official breeder, be prepared for allergies, ocular bleeding from eye pressure, hip dysplasia, cheery eye, trachea collapse, twisted spine and dreadful breathing problems. They are expensive. Too many teen girls buy them and can't afford the allergy meds and food, and just leave them to suffer. One visited the clinic last week, collapsed and died because of an extra long walk in the sunshines. Don't do it. Let this breed disappear and buy a dog with a nose, please. Edit. Read about their problems before buying one, don't buy one, get awesome pet insurance, and treat every problem seriously and immediately. Edit. Thank you kindly for the awards, dear people. Appreciated, but while imaginary internet points are lovely, a big part of this is education. I want to look down the lens of the computer screen and talk to you. Yes, you. The person feeling lonely. I quarantine browsing Craigslist and Kijiji and Gumtree at puppies. Damn, those Frenchies and pugs are cute, right? You can't help what you like. I think fat cats are cute. Very wrong as someone who works in vet. But I don't encourage it. I educate people on the health benefits of a slender kitty, and my own cats are on strict diets. Don't feel bad for looking at pictures of playful pugs and Persians, but I ask you to consider carefully when you reach out with your wallet. 1. There are many brachycephalic breeds, but I called out Frenchies because right now they're the fad breed. One appeared in Modern Family and suddenly everyone wanted one. Just like Beverly Hills Chihuahua, in the 3 years there will be a glut of these in rescue groups, and no one will want them because they're sick and expensive, and OMG, that kid's cartoon has a Yorkie in it. I really want one, mommy. 2. Because they're an it breed right now, and because everyone in quarantine thinks now is the perfect time for a puppy, the unethical backyard breeders are churning them out on a factory line. I've participated in 20 cesareans this year, and all of them is either a Frenchie or a bully breed, another fad breed we have concerns about. 2 mothers died on the table and another at home from dystocia bred by randoms who delayed too long before coming in and were trying to make a quick buck. The other C-sections were harrowing close shaves that I dread. All the ethical breeders out there have their litters booked until September. They're also setting their prices high because they want those desperate for a particular breed to see rescue groups as a viable option. So chances are that if you're buying now, you're buying from a quick buck breeder. And those dodgy breeders are looking really good right now. The good ethical breeders are $4,000 and not available until next year. And rescues, I know. They do many marvelous things, but they are strict. I've known them to turn down wonderful owners for minuscule things. You can jump through all the hoops and still be turned down. Craigslist breeders don't ask questions, and you get to cuddle your puppy. But these guys, ook. Don't put money in their pockets. 3. People are telling me their Frenchies and pugs are healthy. I'm happy for you. But they're the lucky ones. For every healthy one born, you're condemning 4/5 to a life of scratching and wheezing. And they still have breathing problems. When you buy into the breed, you're saying yes, that cute face is more important than their comfort. What if your mother had a choice between breathing properly and blue eyes, and she picked blue eyes? I liken it to when you have a cold, and both nostrils are clogged. Yes, you can enjoy life, smile and laugh and enjoy food with your friends and play tennis, but it sucks. Aren't you relieved when that cold is gone? Imagine living your life like that. You have that choice when you pick your puppy. 4. The fact is, you won't love your puppy because they're a pug or a Frenchie. You love them because they're yours. They're your sweet comfort after a long day. When you have the choice between supporting a non-brachycephalic breed with a nose and a history of unethical breeding practices, would it really change your love for your pet? 5. If you have your heart set on a pug or Frenchie type dog, look into crossbreeds like Puggles, Beagle or Jack Russell Cross, or Boodles, Poodle. They're cute and they have a nose. They can breathe. At the end of the day, I just want dogs to breathe. Also Ragalarlajane has a wonderful post for those who are in the you're wrong side, spoken with far more thoughtfulness than I.
Kangaroo has 3 vaginas. Barry Newman is 13 days older than Gary Oldman.
The odds of you finding a gold nugget in a day are 0.0000784% on average.
One of the most important moments in Western history was when a Greek army of about 7,000 managed to drive off 100,000 Persian soldiers in the Battle of Salamis. The Persian general, King Xerxes, was sent a message from one of the Greek generals claiming that he had defected and that the entire Athenian population would be evacuating the next morning and that this would be a perfect opportunity to destroy the Greek fleet as the ships would be full of civilians. Xerxes trusted this information and sent his much larger fleet into the territory, only to find the full brunt of the Grecian military in perfect position to destroy the entire Persian fleet. Xerxes was forced to flee back to Persia, and they never attempted an invasion again, well, except that one time. Had Persia won this battle, Greek culture would have never been able to flourish the way it did during the classical period, and Western civilization as a whole probably would look very different today. Edit. I have never gotten this many upvotes. This is now the highlight of my day.
You can watch any movie you want at any time by Googling the name of the movie in Google Drive, as well as the name of any book in PDF. Happy quarantine. Switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading.
In a vehicle with an automatic transmission, there will be a small panel around the base of the stick shift. If you open it up, use a paper clip, there will be a button in there. If you push the button, you can work the shifter without a key.
The pain of discipline is temporary, the pain of regret is permanent.
On YouTube, you can directly click at the end of the video and then play replay. All ads will be removed. Edit. Thanks, it's my first reward. D.
If you see a job you really want but aren't quite qualified for, apply anyway. Don't tell yourself no, make them tell you no, you might be pleasantly surprised. Both my son and daughter followed this advice and got a job that turned into a career.
Saying no when someone asks you to do something is a reasonable answer. Don't be afraid to say it.
Manhattan's layout is largely grid-based except for Broadway, which runs at a diagonal through the city and ignores the grid. This is because before the rest of Manhattan was developed and was mostly farmland and open fields, this is the route the cows took out to pasture, and its continued use over the years by people and cows meant it was simply left in as the city developed. Broadway exists BC cows. Edit. I've been informed this isn't entirely correct, and that the path was originally forged by Native Americans. Unfortunately, this is just what I learned in a city planning course and thought was an interesting fact. Definitely didn't mean this maliciously. You can spend an entire afternoon reading the comments of one Reddit post.
Hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backwards. Doesn't change the fact that I still fucking hate ostriches. I know the whole exercise can fix your depression thing is made fun of a lot on Reddit, but it really can help so much. I'm not saying it's going to 100% cure you or that it will work for everyone, but please just try. I have been making an effort to go outside and exercise every day, and I have never been happier. Don't sit around and think that exercise won't help if you haven't even tried it yet. And even if it doesn't help you, at least you're getting the physical benefits of exercise, even if all you're doing is walking a couple laps around your yard.
Getting older is fucking awesome. 53M. I feel confident, secure and healthier than I ever have in my entire life. I wish I could tell my 28-year-old self to relax and enjoy the ride more.
When driving in tunnels? If there is a blue stripe on the wall, you are underwater. If the stripe is brown, you are underground.
Go shopping when you're hungry, you'll buy unnecessary stuff.
Credit scores do not cross international borders. Once you begin working in another country, you can start over in that regard. When you buy your first home, put together a simple little toolkit to do easy repairs around the house. It will save you a lot of money down the road, and you can usually find a decent video on how to make the repair online.
Look people in the eye. Say please and thank you. Salespeople will go out of their way for you if you show appreciation. Sometimes it's best to let go of people.
La Tomatina is a festival held in Bunol, Spain, where participants get involved in food fights, only using tomatoes just for entertainment. This year it should have been on the 26th of August.
Human resources at any corporation is there to look out for the best interest of the company. First and foremost. Remember that before you take a complaint to them. Very few people at a gym are gonna make fun of you, talk shit, even notice you with more than a few passing looks. And the ones that do are shitbirds anyway, and not worth you sacrificing your health. Go to the gym when all this blows over and use it. Even an hour 2 to 3 times a week is better than nothing, and you'll begin noticing small changes sooner than you think. You can crawl through a blue whale's arteries, and a human tooth is 36 calories. You're welcome. Never pour water into any acid because it will splash out acid at 600 plus kelvins, 300 degrees Celsius. If you have to mix water and acid, always put water first then acid. This is because the reaction of acid dissolution is exothermic, meaning it will create a big quantity of heat, thus the splashing. But if you put a drop of acid in water, the reaction won't heat enough to splash.
Wherever you are, be there someone wiser than me at it. Wow. Thanks for the love, everyone. I do try to apply this to my life, and I feel like this has a great meaning. I've had this quoted to me by several respected people in my life. Not sure where it originated, but words to live by.
2520 is the smallest number that can be exactly divided by all the numbers 1 to 10.
Write down the unsettled memories that upset you. It will be a difficult and overwhelming process, but it will be helpful in the long term. Unresolved memories may very well be due to genuine problems, but because the memories aren't usually confronted, they hover like an indistinct cloud of causes and possibilities, which makes the problem seem way more daunting than they are. It's this hazy mess that gets shredded when you subject your memories to rigorous thinking, which is what happens when you write. You may still be left with a problem, but it would be a problem with a boundary, and bounded problems don't bother us as much as unbounded ones. Think of a monster that can be 100 monsters of 100 kinds at the same time versus a single, well-defined monster. Edit. Added explanation. I saw this on RU the other day. Applying superglue, cyanoacrylate, to cotton or wool results in a rapid chemical reaction that releases enough heat to cause minor burns. If enough cyanoacrylate is added to the cotton or wool, the fabric will catch on fire, making this a great trick to keep in mind in survival situations.
Most of us fit and active people don't enjoy exercise. We enjoy the feeling when it's done. So if you hate running, hate cycling, hate lifting weights, most of us do, too. So don't wait for something to click, just get out there and do it and get it done. You'll enjoy how you feel later in the day, and you'll be proud of the results long term.
If you like what you see, please comment, like and subscribe.